Good afternoon. So you heard the reasons for IPAC accepting the decline of President Muhammadu Buhari's assent to electoral bill. And one of the reasons they gave was the fact that Nigeria is not ripe for direct primaries for political parties. They also said that it would include complex logistics and huge financial burden on the country. Do you also share in this light?
Well, thank you very much. First, I think I'm a bit surprised that this is coming from IPAC itself. If as far back as 1993, we're not this digital, we're not this ICT compliant, the direct primary system was adopted and it yielded very fantastic results. It was even adopted in the major general election, the option A4 system, and it yielded fantastic results. I'm shocked to hear that they say that in 2022, maybe 2023, we will not be able to do the same thing that we did many years ago. I think that the decisions of the presidency and those who are pushing for cancellation of the direct primary are those who are benefiting from the corrupt political system that we have now. There are no elections. People just sit down in the room, select who they want to emerge as their flag bearer, force it on the electorate, and the electorate have no choice but to vote for their party. So we're saying that people go to their bases and the grassroots as it used to be in the 90s and the 80s and solicit for support from grassroots, get it publicly adopted and cleared, and then you emerge from your people and then you go to the center to seek the general vote. That's just what direct primary is all about. You go home and people stand behind you and say, listen, we want this guy. And nobody's going to pretend to collect money dark and then come in the open and do a different thing. We're saying that we want it to be open and transparent. And it doesn't cost money really to do a direct primary. What it costs is for you to be known among your people. So for me, those who are stopping this process are those who are benefiting from the current corrupt electoral processes that we have.
Okay,
that's just a simple truth.
Okay, Dr. Chris, now let's look at the National Assembly. Now, some people have criticized the National Assembly for putting this clause in the new electoral amendment bill. And they say that the reason is so as to delay the adoption of this particular electronic transmission of election results. Do you believe this sentiment?
No, I don't think so. The major election itself will be transmitted live, but direct primaries are what you do before the major election. So they're two different things. And the timeline is also different. And it's only those who are afraid of who are enjoying the status quo that will be afraid of what will happen next. We were not using the card reader system in the past. We've started using it. We have not died. We've voted through it. If we bring direct transmission of results, it will have a setback, but we'll get through it and fine-tune it over time. We just need a process that is clear, open to all, and can pass through the litmus test any day, anytime in an electoral process. So the people can truly have their persons representing them. The truth is that majority of the people representing us in Abuja and in government houses are not the choices of the people. There are people that are a product of manipulated electoral processes, and there's nothing that the populace can do. This direct primary and direct transmission will help the population to have a voice. That's what I think, and that's my opinion.
Okay, now on the part of the National Assembly, the president has refused to give assent, and the National Assembly is still bent on having this clause of the direct primaries in the electoral amendment bill. Now, the IPAC also urged the National Assembly that not to attempt to veto the decision of the president, as it will be a fruitless exercise. Now, if it does happen that the National Assembly tries to override the president's decision, what do you suggest?
Well, I think the National Assembly will be correct to do whatever it needs to do to protect our collective interests as a people, particularly when they are a product of the constituencies. They are grassroots people. We should have tested the pulses of their constituencies before they are arriving at this conclusion. The NDDC itself is a product of Parliament. The Parliament vetted OBJ as president then, and today it's working. It's where it is. So I think that they have the right to do what they need to do to safeguard our democracy and to provide a system that is well accepted. IPAC is only an advisory committee and probably is responding to those who they are. If you have a paymaster now, that is probably not getting them to think otherwise. Otherwise, I expected IPAC to be the one driving the process for the National Assembly to veto Mr. President. This has to happen. The National Assembly should veto Mr. President and exercise the powers as provided by the Constitution and get that to run. Once it is an act of Parliament, INEC will implement it.
How do you think this development affects major political parties in the country? I mean, we have elections nearly a year more. What do you think this development will have on major political parties?
Yeah, it's not rocket science. What we have now is a system where people say they are going home to do primaries. While they are busy thinking of what to do, people sit down in their state capitals or in their party headquarters and fill in names. And they pay money to the bourgeois and the elites, huge sums of money, and then they take ticket from the people ordinarily that shouldn't have ticket, now begin to have ticket. So for me, what will happen is that parties will have to adjust to the reality. Citizens will adjust to the reality, and it is possible we have enough window. Party primaries will begin sometime much later this year, and between now and June, anything that we need to do can be done. Get the law in place, and then we do it. And what is the IPAC primary? That people just stand behind their candidate of choice instead of you sit at home and they say they have appointed or anointed for you a candidate. Is that what is so difficult to do? I don't think so. I don't think so.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ekiyor, for putting your views on this latest development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year.